He landed quietly. No fanfare, no welcome committee, just dust, heat, and the soft hum of an airport too used to visitors who take more than they give. Julien Marchand stepped out of the terminal at Ouagadougou International Airport with a camera on his chest and confidence in his eyes. He looked around like he'd been there before, not in body, but in intent. Freelance journalist, he told immigration, interested in African development stories. He smiled. They always smile. In the first few days, he moved carefully, filmed sunrises, interviewed children, sat respectfully with elders, asked about music, food, culture. But those who paid attention, really paid attention, noticed the way his gaze lingered on checkpoints, how he zoomed in too far when passing military trucks, how he nodded slowly when a teenager mentioned the route fuel tankers take eastward. What he didn't know was that the people he came to observe had been observing him since the moment he arrived. And President Ibrahim Traoré, young, calculating, forged in war, had already seen through the illusion. At first, he allowed it. Traoré believed in patience. The trap isn't set with noise, it's set with silence. He instructed his team, follow him, record him, don't scare him. And so, while Julien laughed and filmed and asked questions with wide, innocent eyes, Burkina Faso watched. Not just the government, but the people. The fruit vendor near the hotel lobby, an old man with a sharper mind than most generals. The young woman at the front desk. She'd served 2 years in military comms before returning to civilian life. Even the street boy who ran errands for foreign guests. He noticed when Julien left at 2 a.m. with a bag he never carried by day. Within weeks, the evidence was overwhelming. Julien wasn't here for stories. He was here for surveillance. He had mapped out oil fields, tracked convoy movements, and filmed military installations under the excuse of B-roll footage. He communicated using encrypted files disguised as photo uploads to a travel blog no one read. He sent reports to servers traced back to French defense contractors. And his footage? Some of it showed not just locations, but vulnerabilities. He knew the blind spots, the patterns, the shifts, the weaknesses. But he made one mistake. He underestimated Burkina Faso. He underestimated the people. And he underestimated the man who now led them. Traoré watched the final briefing one evening in the war room beneath the presidential palace. He didn't speak for a long time. Then he simply said, "He came with a camera. We'll show the world what he captured, and what we captured of him." The press conference was called. Simple. Director. Just another Tuesday, it seemed. Journalists showed up with notebooks. Embassy staff came with tight smiles. Julien sat in the third row, his camera ready, his expression unreadable. President Traoré walked in alone. No papers, no aides, no speech. Just silence. Then, a flash drive in hand, he walked to the podium and spoke. "There comes a time when a nation must speak, not because it is loud, but because it is clear. Today we are clear." The lights dimmed, the screen lit up. The room fell to ice. They watched as Julien, the polite, curious, camera-loving foreigner, planted a tracking device beneath a supply truck. They listened to his voice, recorded in a conversation he thought was private. Zone Bravo is exposed. Convoy routing unchanged. Ideal for low-interference extraction. They saw the emails, the maps, the surveillance logs, and they saw President Traoré, silent, patient, prepared, reveal it all without blinking. Julian was frozen, not defiant, not angry, just still, because somewhere deep down he had known this might happen. But what happened next? He did not expect. The people rose up, not with violence, not with hate, but with fire in their hearts and pride in their voices. Across Ouagadougou, men beat drums in the streets. Young people painted murals of Traoré's face, crowned with the words, "Our eyes are open." Elder women sang songs from the revolution days, mixing old melodies with new verses. You came with smiles, but left with shame. Burkina does not bow its name. In villages far from the capital, radios played the speech on loop. In schools, teachers paused lessons and explained to their students, "This is how a nation stands for itself. This is what it means to lead." Everywhere, from Bobo Dioulasso to the Sahel, a new chant rose among the people. We are not afraid. We are not alone. Traoré stands, so we stand. It wasn't just national pride. It was something deeper. For decades, the continent had seen men in suits come with cameras and questions, taking photos of poverty and turning them into profit. Now, finally, one of their own had said, enough. Julian Marchand was deported the next morning, under full military escort. He left behind his drone, his gear, his cover story, and whatever confidence he once had. Back in France, no one claimed him. And in Burkina Faso, no one forgot him. Traoré did not gloat. Instead, days later, he walked barefoot into a rural village and sat with elders beneath a baobab tree. He didn't speak. He listened. And when asked why he had exposed the spy so publicly, he said, "Because this land belongs to those who protect it, not those who observe it like prey. We forgive, but we never forget, and above all, we watch." That night, as the sun dipped below the dry red earth, the children of the village lit a small fire. They danced around it, holding sticks like microphones, pretending to be reporters. And when one shouted, "Who protects Burkina Faso?" the others screamed back, "Traoré!" Africa is changing. It no longer waits for permission. It no longer trusts empty smiles. It no longer bows when the world demands silence. Because now, Africa has seen what it looks like when one of its own defends it with truth, patience, and fire. And now, forever burned into the soul of the land is this message. We are not your shadow. We are not your story to tell. We are watching, and we remember.